After 20 years of travel, we have learned that buying the right travel gear is only half the job. You also need to understand where to pack it, how to organize it, and understand the rules that come with it.
So here are travel essentials that we genuinely use, the mistakes most people make with them, and the insider techniques that have helped us get through airports faster, protect our belongings, and avoid costly travel disasters. Canada and the US use 120 volts, while most other European and many other parts of the world use 230 volts. Plugging a 120 volt hairdryer into a 230 volt outlet with nothing but a plug adapter, well, that can explode the appliance and possibly trip the power in your hotel room.
But you can also buy units that combine both plug adapters and voltage converters, and there are some great options available now that we've listed below. So what do you do when the hotel air dryer has all the power of someone gently breathing on your head?
Well, you bring a genuinely dual voltage travel hair dryer, curling iron, or straightener.
And if your styling tool is cordless, check with the airline rules before packing it. Cordless curling irons and straighteners may contain lithium batteries, gas cartridges, or butane, which can change where they are allowed to travel.
And under current US rules, those hair tools that are powered by batteries or butane, they can't go in your checked luggage. They have to stay in the cabin.
Honestly, for international travel, the simplest choice is usually a corded dual voltage tool. It avoids the battery and gas restrictions, and you only need the correct plug adapter.
Yeah, now before buying one, make sure you check these three things: the voltage range, the wattage, and whether it works on both 50 and 60 hertz electrical systems. Don't trust the words travel hairdryer on the box without reading those specifications.
So the rule is a simple, universal adapter changes the plug. A dual voltage appliance handles the electricity, and your hairdryer would very much like you to remember that. People toss their cables, plugs, earbuds, battery, everything into one pouch and call it organized. But to an airport x-ray, a tightly packed knot of wires and electronics can be difficult to see through.
I make sure to keep chargers and power banks separate instead of winding all the cords around them. And I roll each cable neatly and secure it with a small Velcro tie. When your laptop has to come out, make sure to place it flat in the bin with nothing above or underneath it. The goal here is to make your electronics easy to see, easy to remove, and easy to repack. And make sure your laptop is charged in case they want to check it, because a dead laptop may not make it on the flight with you.
Now, the next thing we always carry is a power bank, and this is one of the most misunderstood things that people take onto an airplane.
Yeah, a power bank is a spare lithium battery, so it belongs in your carry-on, not in your checked luggage. If the airline takes your carry-on at the gate, remove the power bank before handing that bag over.
Now, the number you need to look for when shopping is the watt-hour rating. It's written as WH. Up to 100 watt-hours is normally accepted on a plane without special airline approval. But between 101 and 160 watt-hours, well, that usually requires approval, and anything above 160 watts is generally prohibited on passenger aircraft.
So do not assume that it's allowed because it's advertised as a travel power bank. Make sure that the watt-hour rating is printed clearly on the device. Airlines are also becoming much stricter about where power banks are stored and whether you can use them during a flight. Some want them kept within reach instead of in the overhead bin, while others prohibit using or recharging them on board altogether.
We have links to our power bank of choice in the description below.
Now, the next essential is a luggage tracker, and this one has become non-negotiable for us.
We recently did a video about the airport luggage tag scam that took off on this channel because it showed just how vulnerable your suitcases can be once it disappears behind the check-in counter.
Yeah, in that video, we shared the full routine that we now use before checking a bag. Photograph the suitcase, photograph what's inside, confirm the baggage tag, keep the receipt, and place a tracker inside.
So before you get to the airport, check the battery, confirm that it connects to your phone, and give it a useful name. Dave's Blue Samsonite is much better than Dave's AirTag when you're trying to explain which suitcase didn't arrive.
And that helped us when our luggage was delayed in the Yukon before we continued on to Alaska.
So we took a screenshot showing the tracker's location and sent it directly to the airline. That gave them something far more useful than saying, "Our suitcase is missing somewhere in the airport system." If the bag is delayed, take a screenshot of its location and use that information while filing the airline's official missing bag report.
Now, the next essential costs less than an airport lunch, but it can save you from a very expensive surprise at the check-in counter.
What most travelers usually do is weigh their checked suitcase and never think about the carry-on. Well, in Europe, where airlines can be very strict about cabin bag weight, that mistake can mean repacking in public or paying an unexpected fee.
And that is why we always travel with a small digital luggage scale. And we use it on every bag, not just a suitcase going underneath the plane.
Many European airlines are much stricter about cabin bag weight as well as size. So you want to know what your suitcase weighs, not just if it'll fit in the bin.
Yeah, and remember, carry-on rules can be more complicated than they look. For example, Lufthansa limits a standard cabin bag to 8 kilos, or about 18 pounds. On long-haul economy and most short and medium-haul economy fares. But on its new economy basic fare in Europe, you may only get a small personal item unless you pay extra for a larger carry-on.
Now, Air France, it allows up to 12 kilos or 26 pounds combined between your cabin bag and your personal item in economy.
The lesson here is always check the rules for the airline actually operating each flight. If you're traveling on a code share or changing airlines in Europe, the limit on your second flight may be very different from the one that you had when you left Canada.
Now, when traveling, you'll usually have your main carry-on suitcase for the overhead bin and a smaller personal item that fits under the seat. We use that personal item for our laptop, power banks, camera equipment, medication, and other valuables that cannot be checked.
Now, that also means that if the airline takes the roller bag at the gate, the important things are already with us.
So even when your roller bag meets the airline size and weight rules, it may still be taken at the gate because the overhead bins are full or the aircraft has been changed and is smaller than expected.
And that is not the moment to discover that your passport, medication, laptop, and power bank are buried beneath 3 layers of clothes and a bag of souvenirs. And never move power banks or spare lithium batteries into checked luggage just to make the carry-on lighter. That won't fly.
Now, the next essential is one I never take lightly, a properly prepared medication pouch. A few years ago, I had cancer, and although I'm doing well now, I still need to take medication that I have to take every day. So I keep a dedicated pouch with the original labeled containers, a copy of the prescription, and enough extra doses to cover any unexpected delays.
And make sure that the prescription lists both the brand name and the generic name. The same medication may be sold under a completely different name in another country.
We also keep an updated medication list and important medical information downloaded to our phones so we're not relying on Wi-Fi or an app that suddenly refuses to open.
Yeah, before traveling internationally, check whether your medication is legal at the destination. Something available over the counter in Canada may be controlled somewhere else. And some prescriptions require documentation or even advance permission.
Now, the next essential can completely change a long-haul flight, but only when you pack the part that most people forget. A way to connect your headphones to the seatback screen.
Yep, the Bluetooth headphones work beautifully with your phone, but a lot of aircraft entertainment systems still require a stupid cable.
You can also use a small Bluetooth transmitter that plugs into the seatback headphones jack and sends the audio wirelessly to your own headphones.
Just make sure to pair it before the flight and keep the regular audio cable as backup.
So we always have an array of headphones because it's important. And before you go, make sure everything's charged before leaving home and download any required apps or updates and keep your cheap pair of wired earbuds as a backup.
Now, another essential we want to highlight here is a small in-flight comfort kit that stays inside our personal bag, where we can actually reach it without opening the overhead bin.
That's the key. I always have it when I sit down. So inside a small pouch, I pack a proper blackout eye mask. Make sure you get a shaped blackout mask because it's much more comfortable and doesn't press against your eyelids. And of course, we always wear our noise-canceling headphones. We download Ocean Waves or another white noise app before the flight, so it even works when there's no Wi-Fi.
We also keep lip balm, a small moisturizer or face spray, and basic medication we already use, such as Tylenol or Gravol. Keep those all together in one pouch. Airplane cabins can feel exceptionally dry after several hours, and I often get really achy after a few hours of flying. I'm getting old, you know.
That's where the Tylenol comes in handy. We then add a large scarf or lightweight sweater that can double as a blanket. Airplane temperatures seem to alternate between tropical greenhouse and meat locker freezing, so layers are essential.
And because some cabins can feel incredibly stuffy before takeoff, we do carry a small rechargeable fan. Make sure it's charged and switch it off completely before packing it away. We've made that mistake too.
Now, the big lesson from our nearly 20 years of travel is that useful gear does not need to be clever. It just needs to solve a problem, meet the rules, and be packed so that you can actually reach it when you need it. So we've linked to the types of products we use in the description, and some may be discounted right now.
Buy things that remove friction from your trip, learn how to use them properly, and leave the imaginary problem-solving gadgets on the internet where they belong.
So tell us in the comments what small travel item has saved you from a major airport headache and what lesson you had learned the hard way like we did.
And don't forget to subscribe for more practical travel tips and share this with someone who's still packing for a flight. Safe travels, everybody.
See you in the next one.